Keyon, and I'm here to talk to you all about yourself. See, I know that there are so many different types of people in the room: doctors, teachers, lawyers, people of old age, young age, people that have traveled this whole entire world. And what still amazes me is that you could get to any level in your life and fairly know absolutely nothing about yourself. See, what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about becoming a human being, which is just being. I'm talking about focusing on becoming a human becoming the person that you absolutely aspire to be. See, the things that I'm going to discuss over the next few moments, I'm not asking you all to believe everything that I'm saying. But what I am going to ask you all to do is, over the next few moments, the things that I am going to say that you can apply it to your life, and allow it to change you to become the person that you desire to become. I'm not here standing before you as if I'm a guru. I know you're like, who is this guy in this red suit? Who does he think he is? No, I'm just a guy, a young man. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, with teenage parents. My mother had me at 17. My father had me at 15. And my father was killed almost 2 years ago. And while I was on my transition of becoming the person and making a decision to become, he admired it. He said, I admire the fact that you have the ability to focus and stay true to yourself in any chaotic situation. See, most people, what they would do is, in a chaotic situation, is they would focus on all of the things that they cannot control. That means that you begin to live your life outside in. What I submit to you all today is that if you begin to live your life inside out, so many different things in your life will begin to change. See, I remember I was in college, and it was my first year of college, and I was so stressed out because I was, quote unquote, this broke college student. And when I used to have a discussion with people, and I would tell people, hey, I'm a broke college student and I can't party. I was so broke, I couldn't even party. And I would tell people this, and they would tell me, well, you're in college. You're supposed to be a broke college student. Guys, can you imagine telling somebody that, hey, listen, I'm in a situation that I don't want to be in, and they tell you that you deserve and you're supposed to be in that situation? You're going to be absolutely frustrated. See, what I could have done in that specific moment is I could have said, hey, you know what? I am going to focus on how to go ahead and make the money. I didn't decide to do that. Throughout that journey, I made a decision that I'm not going to focus on what I have to do. I'm going to focus on who do I have to become. And the things that you have to do to focus on who you have to become is, first, understand that you need to only focus on things that you can control. And throughout that journey, I started studying. I started going through so many different classes, learning more about who I am. And I decided that the only thing that I could focus on are the things inside of me. And the first level that you want to focus on is your first 5 bodily senses. And it's going to start with what you are hearing. And what you're hearing is so important because it reflects on what you're saying. Out of the abundance of your heart, you begin to speak those things. So I only had to surround myself around people that were saying things that was conducive for where I wanted to go. So the things that I was saying, I had to be very, very careful, and I had to be very intentional about what I was saying, because I realized that people are judging me and my level of maturity based on the things that come out of my mouth. See, what's more important than what you say to others is actually what you say to yourself. And you have to be careful with what you say to yourself. Really, really careful, because the things that you say to yourself will have a reflection on every little detail. So how do you talk to yourself on an everyday basis? The second sense that I decided to start to master is what I was seeing. Guys, I was in a dorm room. I'm telling you, I'm living 6 feet away from another grown man who absolutely stinks. And it was so challenging at that moment where I said, you know what? I'm not going to focus on the fact that I'm stuck in this dorm room. I'm going to start putting images on where I want to go, the places that I want to experience everywhere. So I would put people that I wanted to meet. I would put places that I wanted to go in my dorm room. Could you imagine how crazy people thought I was. See, they say an image is worth 1,000 words. If I just told you that your words are powerful, imagine how powerful the images you're surrounded by. Imagine how powerful that is. And it will begin to change what your taste is. Your taste is your third sense. It's a very, very important sense, because I remember I would start going to these new environments, these new restaurants, and my taste would begin to change, where I would go back to places like Golden Corral, no offense. It would be totally different, because I would see kids everywhere. I would very much pay attention to the food and how it's served to me. So my taste begins to change on a consistent basis. See, when you start to experience a new level and you aim to experience a new level in your life, your touch will begin to change. I would go to different dealerships. I would go experience different homes, different condos, and I would start touching the steering wheel in the car. And then I would go sit back in my car and I would be very, very, very uncomfortable in my car. Well, why would I be uncomfortable in my car? Because I got used to being in the car that I wanted to be in. And things started to change for me on a consistent basis. And the last sense will be what you're smelling. See, most people don't understand how important a smell is. Like, somebody could come in here and you could smell them and you would say either or ooh. Somebody could sit right here and have a smell and leave 15 minutes later and you could still smell them. See, most people don't realize that where you're going has a smell as well. So you got to be very careful. If you're looking to make more money, rich has a smell. And if you don't agree, I'm pretty sure you can agree that poor has a smell as well. So you got to be very, very careful in the environments that you're putting yourself in. See, what is so amazing is when you're on this journey, you will realize that school absolutely shortcutted us in so many different areas. A lot of you all are like, I've heard of my 5 senses before. But ladies and gentlemen, what if I was to tell you that you don't only have 5 senses, you actually have 15? Everything that is created in this world has 3 parts. Just take a look at water. Water has vapor, gas, and liquid. It can be created in 3 different parts. What if I was to tell you that you're also created in 3 different parts? Your second part of yourself will be your soul. Your soul happens to be where your intangible world is. Things that you may not even see on an everyday basis. The first sense of your soul happens to be your mind. Your mind is your melting pot. You have the ability to put things in and actually take things out. So that is so important that you understand that about your mind, because most people, they just put things in, but they forget to take things out. Your second sense of your soul is your will. Your will is your ability to keep going regardless. You have to have a drive to keep going and not give up. Imagine listening to some of the stories that came before me, and those people are telling you everything that they had to go through to be the person that they are today. You're probably like, oh my goodness, you had to go through all of that? You would be so amazed at what a person is going through, and you're like, how do they do it? It's because they worked on their willpower. One of the presidents, when they were trying to go to the moon, they would ask him, they would say, what does it take to get to the moon? And his response would be, it's the will to do it. Well, I'm here today to tell you that I'm pretty sure it's a lot harder getting to the moon than becoming the person that you inspire to be. Your next sense will be your emotions. So your emotions are so tricky because your emotions are never right or wrong. But your emotions happens to be one of your weakest senses. Your emotions happens to be a sense that you really cannot control. It just measures where you are in your life. See, most people who are really, really miserable, they only make all of their decisions based on their emotions. You can't do that. You just gotta have your emotions, and you gotta utilize your next sense, which is your intellect. Your intellect is your ability to infer. If I say 1 + 1, you would say 2. Your ability to make sound decisions on a consistent basis to guide you throughout your life. I had a mentor and a long time ago, and he would tell me, you need to become a knowledge crackhead in whatever area you want to be. You want to focus in on learning as much as you can about that industry, about that person, about that place. And you never want to stop, because most people who are perishing is because of the lack of their knowledge. And the last sense will be your imagination. You need your imagination to become the person that you are deciding to become. You have to see it before you even get there. Just take a look at this room. You have a seat right here. People are sitting here, but before this seat was even placed, someone saw it and they imagined this building that we're in, and it completely created this environment that we're in right now. So your imagination has to be very strong and very sensible for you to continue to think about the person that you're going to become. In the last portion of you, we're not going to cover all of those senses. We're going to touch on two, but it happens to be your spirit. Your spirit is so powerful because you could feel a person coming in. See, most people, if somebody walked in, you can just feel their aura. Or you could be in a situation where you're at a register and you have this older, wise person right in front of you. You could just feel the wisdom coming off of this person. That is your spirit. Your spirit is your image and likeness of a higher being. And you have to be very careful with your spirit. Your first sense of your spirit happens to be your faith. Your faith is driven by the substance of things that you're hoping for, you're believing for, you're deciding to do on a continuous basis. And in order to strengthen your faith, you must eliminate two things. It's going to be your doubt and your unbelief. You want to make sure you continue to get away from environments flooding you with doubt and unbelief. And you want to start getting in environments that inspire you to flood your desires. Your desires are flooded through all of your senses. Your senses are your gates to your heart. Anything that you desire, it will begin to get into your heart. And some of you all are probably like, I never even seen what I want it to be. Guess what? You can desire something that you've never had before. Just like you desire everything in your life that probably haven't even came out yet. You gotta make sure you continue to flood your life with your desires. The last sense of your spirit is going to be your imagination. You have to continue to make sure that on a consistent basis, you're imagining these different things and you're making sure that you're meditating. The last sense happens to be your meditation. You must continue to meditate every single chance that you get. See, most people believe that meditation happens to be just a posture or position. A meditation is not a posture or position. It is a state of being. When you make a decision to continue to meditate on where you are going to go and on a consistent basis, you will begin to start to feel where you're about to go. And every single day, whether you're asleep or woke, you want to make sure that you're continuously meditating. And if you want to understand how to wipe out every single thing that I just talked about, there's one thing I would focus on if I was you that will avoid everything is unforgiveness. You have to make sure on a continuous basis, you're realizing how to continue to forgive. See, most people don't realize that unforgiveness is actually stopping them from becoming the person that they want to become. It's not that you're working hard enough. It's not that you're not in the right environments. You got to make sure that it doesn't matter what has happened with that relationship, that you begin to send love. Love is going to be one of the most powerful things that you're going to have to continue to give out in order for you to continue to give. Everything that I just went over has nothing to do with what is controlled on the outside world. These are things that you have the ability to control. And if you make the decision that you're going to control it, you will become the person that you desire to become. See, I'm telling you this right now because it's worked in my life and it's going to continue to work in my life. And I know that you can do it because I truly believe that you deserve it. Thank you. I'm Keyon.